What are you mom at?
What?
Akil knows he's got a topic because he already put the "What's up with your mom?"
Hey guys, welcome to Don't Worry. Sorry.
Clear. Hey, Ryan. It's Don't
What?
Muddle Monday. It's
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I got the wrong
It
title.
says that in the thing.
Welcome to Don't Muddle Monday, the show where we sit there for about 30 seconds and do nothing when we try to start a show. No, it's the show where we talk about whatever issues you might be going through in your life. Whether they're big problems or small problems, we're here for you. We're friends, not professional psychologists, psychiatrists, or anything along those lines. So take everything we say at your own wisdom. And we didn't force your hand or tell you to do this, any of it. So don't sue us. Oh, you're gonna look smart because you have a pen. Nice, very strategic. I look smart too because I'm holding a tiny fork. So
that looks.
Welcome
very
to Don't
smart.
Worry, Don't Muddle Monday, and I hope you enjoy the show. Today we have with us the incredible, brilliant-minded individual named Joe Anderson, who is just below me. He will be our star of the show. I will be your host.
Hello.
And in the background, we've got Princess, Jesse, and Senna working with us behind the scenes. So, yeah. How you guys doing in the chat today?
I'm not smart anymore.
How you guys doing? Oh, then I should put my fork down so that we can be on equal level.
You should put your small fork down.
Yes. Hey, Akil. Hey, Dagger. How's it going, man? Nice to see you. Kendra, sweet. Akil, of course. Wouldn't be a show without Akil. Akil, you're like a staple here. Like, seriously, you're like one of the staff. You're just here and you're like, it would not be the same show without you. Whenever like we do a show and you're not here for like the first 30 minutes, it feels weird to me. I'm not even kidding. I'm just like, where's Akil? I missed that guy. He needs to be in here. So yeah. He needs to be. I want to buy a painting for $600. Wow. Wow. I bet it's really good. I don't think I have that kind of money.
If I had $600, I would.
Yeah. Yeah,
Jeff
I love
says,
this.
We all get Greer Muddle Monday. I'm off to bed. Good night, everyone.
That's from Jeff. Good night. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest. And that the English clears up for you after. So, yeah, Tef, you're awesome. We love you. So yeah, Princess wants me to mention about doing the topics. Oh, actually, that comes to Jesse, I think.
Yeah, I didn't think we were ready, Jesse.
Yeah, we're not. I don't think we're ready for Jesse that, right? Is that what you were referring to, Princess? I'm not sure. Huh? I don't know. There's something going on in the background, guys.
I'm really confused.
I'm really confused. I don't get what we're talking about. Okay. Well, cool. Right. You guys can fix that. So I don't think that's between us. So we'll just keep on running with the show, I guess.
We're like, listen.
I'm sorry. Anyways,
what's going on? Oh, no, I'm so confused. Oh well.
Mm-hmm. Oh well. Happens. So, anyways, thank you guys for joining us here today. I hope you have a really good time. We love
Ryan
you.
didn't mention it, Princess, because you put it in the chat there. See? Because you were like, way ahead. Yeah, she was like, because you're the host, Ryan. You're not performing your hostly duties.
I didn't. Oh, because I didn't mention that they can send the messages.
Yeah, you went straight to the start of the show, which is appropriate because it's me. But
well, I mean, do I really need to? I mean, everyone here knows the drill, and any lurkers, they can get it from reading the chat because Princess got it under control. But you know what? If we want to go back to that step, we can go back.
Yeah.
Do you guys chat? Do you guys want to go back to that step? Do you guys want to? You guys, it's in your hands now. You guys are the new host.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go back, or do you want me to continue forward with this whole thing? I get a T, a carrot, and a T, or an upper chevron. I get 2 sweat marks from Kendra. I'm not quite sure what I should be doing here.
I'll Hadouken you.
Whoa! Why would you do that? This sounds painful. I didn't ask for this. Don't Muddle Monday, take 2.
Take 2.
Okay,
Ready?
well, and action. All right, hey guys, welcome to Don't Muddle Monday, the show where we talk about whatever issues are on your mind. You want me to go back? All right, so okay, guys, there's a couple different ways you can put your issues down in the chat. You can either just use the chat. You can send us a message on Don't Worry. You can send us a message at bss.studio, or you can send us an email at dww@bss.studio. Either one of those is fine. If you want to remain anonymous, I would go through the email. And we actually haven't got an email in a long while, but I think that's because a lot of people don't care to be anonymous. Because you guys know that you're safe here. This is a safe place where you can say anything and you won't be judged for it. We love you.
That's right.
But we will ban you. So anyways, if you well, I mean, if they get carried away, but we still won't judge you.
I'll give you some Chinese food.
Yeah.
For that. There you go.
I mean, it's the truth. We won't judge you, but we might ban you.
And a cat in a box.
Thanks, Joe. All right, what do you say we get the show underway?
Yes, the 2 ducks kissing, right? Isn't that what that is?
Hey, Joe. Welcome to Don't Muddle Monday, the show where we talk about the issues that are going in other people's lives. I covered this for the 3rd time now.
What? Stop.
Stop. Ryan, stop. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and read through.
There's Jesse. He's directing.
Our list of people who we have in the backlog for topics. So let's go through it. You guys are here. Please put a yo, what's up, your mama, that in the chat. Otherwise, you feel free to do whatever you want. We've got Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Rain Knight, Mark Anthony, Cherry, Nobody, and Akil. Oh, and Hyrule. Nice. Hyrule.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, welcome. I don't think I've seen Cherry in the chat yet. No, they're not here yet. Okay.
I haven't seen Cherry or Journey to Japan or the one, the new name that was last week that was pretty cool too.
So, this person named Nobody is not the same Nobody as Nobody Important.
Correct.
Just so that everybody else knows. And yeah, I haven't seen them in the chat yet. So Akil, you're up first, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more time, rewind. I'll find another way back.
Oh. There's
I sacrifice Hyrule. What? Oh, you sacrifice your own for Hyrule to get his going. Well, I don't know. Hyrule didn't say that he needs to move quickly. So Akil's is recorded. It's recorded into a YouTube. Trying to express my thoughts through a video. Kind of really bad at it. Is what they wrote here. Dude, Akil, every time I see you, I'm surprised. I'm like, man, this guy's handsome. This guy's good looking, dude.
You've got hair again.
You've got hair again. You're no longer bald.
Because the last picture I saw, you shaved your head. You've got nice, full head of hair.
Yeah.
So for you, when you shaved your head, it was like by choice. For me, it's like because my hair looks really dumb when it grows out. God, it looks awful. Ryan says no, it doesn't. But man,
yeah, you look fine, man. I wouldn't mind, but it's up for Akil. It's 11 minutes long. So it might be one that we might have to. Well, we could do it outside of the stream, or we could do it right here, right now. I don't know what to do vote for here because it's not something we can read, of course. And really, it's mostly up to Akil. It was experimental. Okay, yeah. So Akil, do you want us to play the video on the stream
Can
or
we do that?
no? Yeah,
Akil says probably outside the stream.
probably outside of the stream. Okay.
So do you want us to watch it and then we'll talk about it next time, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's probably what they're saying.
Is that what's going on?
Because we can do that. We'll take it as homework, watch it, and then talk about it with you next time. That makes sense to me. It's fine. I'll keep it open in my tab so I remember to actually click on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll do that. Then I guess that leads us straight to high rules, which is what Akil told us to do in the first place. So, you know what, Akil? Don't pretend like a prophet, man. Jeez, knowing everything. What is this? Genius or something. What the heck?
Yeah.
He's too smart for us. Okay. Hyrule, how's it going, buddy? It's your turn.
Hey, it's your turn.
Yep, it's your turn. All right, this is from Hyrule. It's called Update and Random Topic.
Mm-hmm.
It reads as follows. Hello, my life is going really good. I've been trying to think more positively, quit soda, and try to love myself. I think I will be good for a while now. But anyways, thank you for all you do, Ryan and Joe, for making amazing music and building this community for all of us. Senna, for being a really good friend and having my back. And finally, Princess, for helping me in my lowest hour and showing me that I can be myself around people. Now for the topic. When do you know when confidence turns into ego? Because I've been struggling with this for the longest time. Thank you. P.S. Pickle flavored tacos. Awesome. Hyrule. I love you, man. This is an awesome topic. I like this topic a lot. It's a really good one. This is you're right. How do you what's the line? How do you figure out whether you're being self-confident or you're being egotistical? There are definitely a couple of things we can talk about and we can share with you that help define the two and help show you exactly where that line is. Luckily, I know that I've had to go through this in my life, so I can I've kind of taken that path, so I know what it looks like a little bit. Joe seems to be drawing something, which is really cool. Oh, I was hoping you were drawing a picture, but you're drawing letters, right? Are you drawing letters?
I'm coloring now.
Oh. All right, I give up. Today's stream, I can't get anything right. All right, it's just I'm done, guys. I'm done.
Well, I had to do something smart. I had to look like I was
No,
smart. So I had to have the pen look
Uh-huh.
smart because this is a tough topic. This is a really tough one.
Yeah.
So let me.
Okay. Are you prepared? Are you ready?
I'm prepared.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna hand it over to Joe then, and he's going to tell you about this topic. Thank you, Hyrule. We love you. Thank you so much for posting this. So it's a really good topic, whether people are experiencing this in their lives right now or will come to experience this in the future. So again, it's really good. Or even just dealing with other people who are egotistical. Really, really great topic. So carry on, Joe.
You know, I have to tell you, first of all, thank you so much, Hyrule, for the topic. I really appreciate this because, yeah, like Ryan was saying, this is a big one. And I have a real challenge with this as well. Because I don't know where that line is. I always know after I've crossed it. You know, like quite a while usually. It takes me a little bit to recognize what's going on. And then I'm like, oh, I need to get stuff back in line. Usually something bad has to happen first. Like I have to have a humbling moment first. Where it's like, oh yeah, I was kind of being a jerk there, wasn't I? Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Sorry, everybody. So the best thing I can do is I wrote some notes, and I've never done this before. Used notes on Don't Worry Wednesday. But the best thing I can tell you to do is listen to that guy.
You are hilarious. Okay, that's hilarious. So, did we tell that story on Don't Worry Wednesday ever?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Do you want to share
it? Sure. so, Ryan and I have known each other for a long time. Early on, we were doing business meetings together and everything like that, and there was a lot of teaching and leadership training and stuff going on, and I was usually up on the whiteboard. I was always wearing a suit, and I had a whiteboard and a marker and everything, and then we were all kind of rotating between who was going to teach stuff, right? And so one day Ryan gets up there and he just grabs the marker and he's like, okay, so the best thing I can tell you guys to do is, and he drew this big old arrow on the whiteboard, and then he picked up the whiteboard and he brought it over and he pointed it right at me. He said, listen to this guy.
Yeah, it was actually really funny because I went through part of the teaching lesson and then I started doing this and everyone was like, what's he doing? This is new. Like, what's he got? What is this?
Yeah.
And they were like really focusing
notes,
in,
yeah.
and I just drew like an arrow and they're like, well, okay. And then I just pick up the whole whiteboard and use it as an object to point at Joe and say, this guy's got the information, basically. I don't know what I'm doing up here.
Oh yeah, but in all sincerity though, Ryan has helped me understand this topic a lot, because it always seems to go that way for me. Like I don't know if it's I think it's all of us have the ego issue to struggle with, to some degree or another, and none of us are unique in that. So it's kind of, I feel like hopefully I've gotten better over time at noticing when, just straight up confidence starts to turn into cockiness, I guess, or just arrogance, but I think it only comes with experience, and you got to pay attention to yourself, and you have to, I think, in order to discover it, the training ground for learning this, unfortunately, is a lot of moments that are humbling. Because you get in that arena, and it's good to have healthy confidence. It's good to have, something where, you're like, you're your own person, and you can stand on your feet, and like anybody who kind of comes at you, you're not shaken. I mean, it's good to have a level of confidence like that. But I think if you start to think in your mind that you are in some way superior to other people, I think that's a really good indicator. If you start to think in your mind of like, these other people, they have nothing to teach me, because everybody has something to teach you. Everybody. My kids that are way younger than me, clearly, they have stuff to teach me. And anytime I get on my parental high horse and kind of get, and there are moments where there's discipline that has to happen, for sure, right? But at the same time, there has to be respect. How would I ever deserve respect from my kids if I don't respect them as people? They're people. God created them just like he created me. And I certainly have stuff to learn from them. In fact, I've learned a lot from my kids, just from watching them, just from, spending time with them. My oldest son is getting into making comics, And so
Nice.
like that's one of the things we're doing like on weekends sometimes together, you know, like well we spend a lot of time jumping on the trampoline because it's like springtime and we're all quarantined, right? So like there's no school. And so there's all this trampoline time going on right now, which is great. It's great exercise and everything like that. But my oldest son, he's a little bit more, you know, he likes to draw, he likes to write, he likes to come up with stories, he likes to like he will play with action figures in order to come up with a story. And it's hilarious to me because like I learned so much. I look at him and I compare myself to him. Like take Legos for instance, right? Building with Lego sets. I will always get the Lego set. I'll grab the instructions. I'll build it, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome!" You know, I love building. I love putting it together and all that kind of stuff. I don't get to build now because I have to find the pieces for them to build, right?
Yeah.
But they're like, "Dad, help me find this piece." You know, you're just like digging through the thing, you know, like the pile of pieces. Okay, here's this little round black one, you know. But my oldest son, he'll he'll have fun putting the Legos together, but more importantly, he will grab the people. He's more interested in the Lego figures. And then he'll build the thing, the whatever castle or something, whatever it is, you know, and then he'll set it aside and he'll have all the guys and he'll be playing with the guys and he'll be coming up with stories and he will come up with backstories for each character and he'll go way into depth in coming up with a story and it just blows my mind. It's so impressive to me. And so lately we've been doing some comics together. I cannot draw at all and he likes to draw. So he draws and then I draw the boxes because I wield a mean ruler, you know, I can draw straight lines like nobody else's business. And then he also has me write because my handwriting is better than his, I think. Maybe my handwriting's not all that great, but either way, the point of this whole story is that I try to remember that he has stuff to teach me. I try to remember that my youngest son has stuff to teach me, and he does as well. Like, you know, just being with them. Even though in a classical sense, I mean, I see a lot of parents that just feel like it's their job to just be the authority figure and that's all, right? Just to tell their kids what to do. And that there is some of that. We have to teach our kids how the world works, at least to the best of our ability, right? But at the same time, if you forget that you can learn something from other people, you're missing out on so much. And that's the problem. While you're trying to figure out where the line is between that confidence and arrogance, if you can try to remember that everybody has something to teach you, even the person that you don't really know that's standing behind the counter at the gas station and you're going to buy a candy bar, that person has life experiences that you don't. The person at, you know, Taco Bell with long hair and he's just trying to sell you a Mexi Melt. And he looks like Ryan. And Ryan's not paying attention. He's typing.
No, I got it. I actually used to sell Mexi Melts.
I know, man. Sold a mean Mexi Melt.
Yeah.
Which is authentic Mexican food, probably.
Oh yeah, it's a.
That's totally. Yeah, can you imagine a Mexican mother down in Mexico like, hey, come for dinner. I made Mexi Melts.
You know, the kids love the Mexi Melts. Like a lot of parents would come through and just order Mexi Melts for their kids, and that was it. I'm like, that's not nourishing, but whatever. You're the parent.
Yep. I made spicy gordita crunch with the Dorito shell. You know, like, hey,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
But at any rate, no matter what station somebody may be at, the homeless guy on the corner that has a cardboard cutout sign, he has life experiences that you don't have. And we can all learn something from other people. And I think if you keep that in mind, you can really keep that arrogance in check. So even though I don't necessarily know where the line is or necessarily how to know, because I blow right past the line and move into arrogance, and I have to be reined back in by a humbling moment, where I do something dumb and then I have it, blow up in my face or something like that, and then I realize, oh my gosh, I'm so far off track. Life life is wonderful like that, right? But the more I can stay attuned to the fact that I can learn from other people, even my in-laws, I can learn from them, the more I can keep that ego in check. And so that's about the best I have. And so I'm looking forward to what Ryan has to say.
All right.
There you
Well,
go.
thank you, Joe. I really I really appreciate that, because not you pointing to me, but what you said, because it's true. I mean, all of us fail at this from time to time.
Mhm.
And even when you think that you would never have an ego
Ego
problem,
possum?
you would never have an eagle possum.
An eagle
Yes.
possum.
Yeah,
Hey,
when
man.
you would think that you would never have a problem with ego because you don't like yourself, a lot of times you still do. Just because it's just like Joe said, sometimes you cross the line and you only realize too late.
Mhm.
A lot of times we don't want to cross that line because we realize that in the construct of humanity and our culture, being egotistical is extremely, extremely frowned upon.
Mhm.
It's worse than being depressed. You know, it's like you could never be more of a terrible person. It's not correct thinking, but it isn't absolutely wrong either. There's truth to that. You don't want to be egotistical, right? But you do want to have self-confidence. So here's what I can say about this. My route to being egotistical, was one that was shaped by an interesting and unexpected series of thoughts and situations with people and talking to people and figuring out what's going on in their lives, including my own. So it starts from here. Being depressed. We've talked about this before, Hyrule. When you're depressed, it's a problem of two habits, right? The first habit is being focused on yourself.
Mm.
You're just habitually focused on yourself. It doesn't mean you're selfish. It doesn't mean, that you're a bad person. It's just that your brain naturally focuses everything towards you. And the other one is you are habitually negative. Okay? And so that means your brain is looking at the world as if everything is negative, everything stinks, and you have that habit. And then you're focusing on yourself. So now everything comes back to you and you are negative about who you are. You don't like yourself, right? And that's not healthy. Now, here's the interesting thing. Let's say of those two habits, you only fix one of them. Let's say you decide, okay, I'm still going to be really about me, but instead I'm going to fix the negative side and I'm just going to be really positive. So now I'm going to be really positive about myself, right? That's not wrong. It's better than being depressed. But also, if you're habitually positive about yourself, you can become egotistical, right? Because you're still focusing everything's still about you. It's not about other people. And because you have that inward focus, like everything is about me. So this person, I see that as positive now. This activity, this whole thing that just happened, all that is positive. But if you just always say it's ultimately about me and that affects my life and it makes me better, that's good. But at the same time, it starts to become a problem where it becomes an ego problem. And I've seen people shift. I know people who have shifted, who have gone, one day they're like an egotistical jerk, if you will. They're just like straight up ego. They're like, hey, I can walk into this bar and I can get any girl I want. Like that's literally like what they would say. Like that's not just like them. I'm like quoting them on that. Like that's the attitude they had. The next day, like just floor. They're just grounded. They're depressed. The next day after that, they're egotistical. And then they keep on flopping back and forth between depressed and egotistical. Why? Because they haven't fixed the main problem. So now they take everything about themselves to extremes where something is bad, I feel bad, life is bad, I'm bad, I don't like myself. Here, I'm depressed. And then the next day something good happens. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to ride that train. That, life is awesome. I'm awesome. I'm on top of the world. I can do anything." Right? So there's a fine line there. And if you don't fix the self-focus issue, all you end up doing is crossing back and forth between depression and egotistical. It doesn't seem like those two are connected when we talk about them, but you can see how they are in this scenario. Depression and ego problems stem from both being self-focused. And that's not a crime. It comes naturally to being a human. But also, it's something that's a habit that we can fix. If we can take our time to spend more time, and I'm not talking about being selfish, remember, I'm talking about self-focus is different than being selfish. In fact, you can be selfless. I know people who say they're selfless, and it's like, it's true, but you're still depressed because you're still taking all that negativity and directing it towards yourself. And you're giving everything away, and that's really awesome, but selfless is not where you want to be. You don't want to be selfish. You don't want to be selfless. You don't want to be self-focused. You want to be humble, and you want to be charitable, right? Those are the virtues. Humility and charitability, whatever. Charity. Yeah, we'll just call it charity. Humility and charity. Those are the virtues, right? Charity is when you give from your wealth or even beyond, right? For the sake of another person without any sort of desire for self, right? It's not like you do it to look good. It's that you look at someone and say, "Here, I have this for you." Period. Right? That's charity.
It doesn't have to be material wealth.
It doesn't have to be material wealth, right? Charity can be spending time with somebody. Charity can be just a word of good advice. It can be literally sitting there next to somebody while they're in pain and you're in pain with them. Charity can be all sorts of different things. Charity can be a hug, right? So that's charity. Humility is interesting too, because a lot of people think humility is when you put yourself below other people. And so humility and ego are the opposites, but that's not true. They kind of are, but they're not. Humility is when you look at yourself and you realize your value, and then you look at somebody else and you realize their value, and you look at God and you realize his value. You look at an earthworm and you realize their value, and humility is actually just the correct actions in life taken based on a correct view of everything's value. So when I look at Joe, I go, okay, that's a human being. He has the same exact value as I do. He has the same amount of love given to him by God as I do. He has ultimately the same intention from God to be in heaven with him, right? And spend time with him, all that kind of stuff, as I do. So therefore, if I look at him, I can act to him the same way I would act to myself. If I act with love to him, I should act with love to the same degree that I act to him to myself, right? It's understanding of value and then living that out correctly. So just like Joe was saying, if we can look at each other and say, they have something to teach me, they have things that I don't know, I'm not necessarily as smart as them, or they can do things that I can't do or I will never do because they have their whole life that's going to be different than mine. And they will do things in that life that I will not be doing. That's why each person is just as valuable as another. You can't really compare them. All you can say is they are equal by design, equal in love. The way that they're shaped, their bodies are going to be different. The tasks they perform, the paths they take, everything is going to be different. And in that aspect, they're not equal. No one's equal. We're all different. But in the aspect of value, we are all the same. And so when we can take that into account And we, instead of focusing on ourselves all the time, right? Because that was the main issue of the two habits, right? You can either be positive or negative, but if you're focusing on yourself, you will keep on treading that line of egotistical and depression.
Mhm.
But if you can stop focusing on yourself and focus on others as if they are of the same value as you, right? Not that they're more valuable, but that you love them just as much as you love yourself, which is hard. If you can get there, then you will not enter the line of egotistical, being egotistical, because being egotistical requires that you are looking at yourself as you are above other people, right?
Mhm.
So if you can, the way you can actively practice this out is to do things for others on purpose. Spend time each day doing something for somebody else, hoping that they don't even see that you did it, or hoping that they won't, that you won't ever get paid back for it, right? When you practice that, you start to take your mind and you start to move it to a different direction where no longer is it about me. My actions aren't about me. And I think that's one of the main things we have to get through our minds. We live in a world that treads that line of depression, egotism. Egotism, there we go. That's the word I was looking for. We tread that line between depression and egotism because we think that our actions are about us. But they're not. My actions affect me, but they also affect everybody else.
Mhm.
They affect humanity. They affect what humanity is capable of. They affect my relationship with God. They affect my relationship with angels, right? My actions are more than just my own thing I have to put up with, right? When I take an action or when I think a thought and I deliver something or anything, right? That goes out beyond me. So my actions aren't about me. My actions are about everybody. And when I take that into responsibility, if I take that responsibility into mind, then my actions no longer tread that self focus anymore. It becomes outwardly focused. My actions are like, okay, what am I doing today to help progress humanity? What am I doing today to help progress God's kingdom, right? What do I do? What am I doing today to help my holiness and other people's holiness, right? It's not just about me. It is about me a little bit, yes, because I'm only in control of myself, but my actions affect more than just me. And I think that really helps to start to get us on the line of thinking that prevents us from being becoming egotistical. I hope that made sense. It's a bit like strange. I realize there's a lot of steps in there and it's really kind of like deep and there's a lot of thought to that, but took a long time to say that. So I'm going to move it on to Joe and see what he's got to say. If he's
All
got
right.
anything to follow up with.
Oh, I was like, I already said what I had to say. No, I really love how you spelled that out, and it would behoove you to go back and listen to what Ryan had to say because he really touched on some really awesome stuff in there. And as he was talking, there was one principle that kind of came to light as he was uncovering. I was waiting for him to say it, and he didn't quite ever say it. But one thing that was getting uncovered as I was listening anyway was that it came to mind when I see somebody who's confident, they are not focused on themselves. They are focused outwardly. They're focused on other people. So really, interestingly enough, that can be your litmus test. It's like, okay, if I am thinking, if I am secure in myself enough that I don't have to think about myself and I can totally focus on people around me,
Absolutely.
then I have healthy confidence. If I'm starting to think, what am I going to get out of this situation? How's this going to impact me? How's this going to be good for me? How am I going to make sure somebody doesn't come out ahead of me? And you start to think thoughts like that. Now you're moving away from confidence into egotism, which, interestingly enough, we think arrogance is overconfidence when actually arrogance is kind of the opposite of real actual confidence, because an arrogance is focused on self and it's like this whole I'm so great type of thing, and that is because they don't necessarily, I mean, like, they're not really that way. Like they've gone out of confidence at that point. They are no longer confident because now it's all about them again. And it's like all about how they're going to build themselves up and make themselves feel good and continue on that ride. Whereas a confident, truly confident person is going to, like, I mean, you see it in other people when you're interacting with them. Obviously, nobody's going around shaking people's hands right now, but a lot of times you could see it or you can feel it in a handshake when someone's focused on you and they come to talk to you and they're like, "Hi, I'm so and so. Da 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 da. It's nice to meet you." Whatever, right? Like they are absolutely secure in who they are, so they don't have to think about who they are. They don't have to think about what's going to affect them. They can totally be focused on another person. And probably, I think that's, and as far as I can tell right now, to answer the question that you have on here, when do you know confidence turns into egotism? When you start thinking about yourself, because you're starting to feel like, how is this going to impact me? How am I going to get out on top on this? How am I going to, when you start to have thoughts like that, you're moving away from confidence into egotism. When you don't even have to give yourself a second thought, you're confident because it's like, I don't have to think about myself.
Yeah, I love how you said all that, because that is absolutely spot on. That is spot on. I can know the times where I feel the greatest about myself are not the times I'm thinking about myself and feeling great.
Mm-hmm.
The times I feel the greatest about myself is when I don't notice myself, when I'm noticing other people, when I'm spending time using my whole self as a gift to others, and I'm not even realizing like how I feel. I'm not thinking about, any of that. I'm literally just thinking about them. I'm focusing on them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just absolutely true. You can see it, just like Joe said. You can see it in people. When certain people are around, you can see like they're just all about this, you or whatever, and they just exude this great confidence. And it's just like, wow, that's really attractive. How do they get there? And it's not because they feel good about themselves inside. It's because they know they're good. They don't have to question it.
Right.
Their focus is making sure you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Their
like
focus
oxygen.
is, what can I do for them? Right.
It's like oxygen. When you have enough oxygen, you don't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're confident, you don't think about it. When you're confident and secure in yourself, you don't think about yourself. You don't need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, that's so true. A lot of times when we start to question ourselves, right? Like we get something wrong or whatever, and then we start to question, it's like, oh, I hope no one thinks I'm stupid or whatever. Now we've gone backwards, because now we're focusing on ourselves again. We're like, oh no, I feel stupid. I hope other people don't think I'm stupid and stuff like that. But if you're confident, right, and you get something wrong, the immediate response is, oh, cool. Thank you for letting me know. Let me fix that. It's that doesn't, like, your first thought isn't, I hope they don't think I'm stupid, or your first thought isn't, oh man, I'm so dumb. Your first thought is literally just, okay, let's do that then. That makes sense. Or, hey, could you explain that to me? I'm a little bit confused. Could you fill me in? Answers like that, they create confidence. So if you ever find yourself feeling like, someone corrects you and you go, oh man, now I feel stupid. I hope they don't think I look stupid. Right now, I bet you they think I'm retarded. Or, like you get like really intense. If you ever start going down that track, the best thing you can do is take the confident route and just say, could you explain that to me? I don't quite know. I don't quite understand that. I don't fully know that realm because I'm not that well studied here. So if you could explain it, that'd be really awesome. Once you do that, you put the ball back in their court and you stop focusing on yourself to really tune into what they're trying to say. And then it puts your mind back on track to not being self-centered, not being self-focused, rather. And that's one of the best things you can do whenever you start to feel that way.
Hyrule says on here, so me staying later at my work because I don't want to let them down is confidence when I need to leave early. Perhaps. If now it all depends on the context, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're staying later at work because you want to help them out, that could be confidence, right? if you are letting another person down by not leaving work early, then that might not be confidence. It just kind of depends. Like sometimes there are priorities, you know, like I have to look at how important is work versus the other things I have to do, right? Like there are times when I have to drop everything that I'm doing at work to go and take care of something with my kids or my wife or whatever, right? There are times I get a phone call and it's like, hey, where are you? And I'm like, I'm over in this area of town. And they're like, okay, how fast can you get to the house? 10 minutes. Okay, please come to the house. And at that point, yes, like my clients, I'm not interested in helping them anymore because I'm focused on my family, right? So whatever needs to happen there, I can clean up later. So really, it totally depends on the context. So like it depends on who you're serving and why. If you're staying late because you don't want to let people down at work because you're afraid of what they might think of you, or you're afraid of what might happen to you as a result, or you're afraid that they might think of you as not a team player or whatever. Now
Or
ego's
even
starting
if
to creep
you
in.
think that if you do it, you'll look good to them, which is something,
Exactly.
you know, I struggle with from time to time too.
Absolutely, we all do. And so you start to, as soon as you start to turn the lights back toward yourself and see like, okay, is this about how they're thinking of me, or is this about how my friends are thinking of me? Am I leaving work early to do something with my friends because they, you know, and I want my friends to think good about me? You know, now you're starting to think of yourself. Like, so really, it could be taken on a um on an instance by instance basis. Like each situation is going to be a little bit different, but when you can let go of you and how other people think about you and how the world perceives you, and determine what's right here in this situation, what's the right thing to do.
Mhm.
Is the right thing to do to stay at work because, you know, because they need help, and this other thing that I have to do that I was leaving early for, it's not all that important, you know, I can take care of that later, no big deal, you know? That's a confident move, right? But if you have something really, really important outside of work that you need to leave early for, but you stay and sacrifice that thing that's more important, now you're treading into the line of, okay, I just want my work people to respect me or to think I'm okay or whatever, right? So now you're starting to get into that realm, and you in your mind, the best thing, do your best to figure out what's right and do that.
Mhm.
And people
Yeah.
who get upset with you about that, all you can do is say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I hurt you. I'm sorry that what I did here made you feel bad or didn't help you out. I'm really, really sorry about that. I have this other thing that needed to be done, and it was, you know, it was really, really pressing, you know. But there are tactful ways to do that. But
Yep.
anyway.
One last comment I'm going to make on this before we move on is simply that, you know, when Joe is talking about when you let go of yourself to do all this, we do not mean that in a self-diminishing kind of way. You know, as we said, don't be selfless. That's being careless. And you have to care about yourself, right? So love yourself, right? Do those things which are good for you, but don't get carried away with yourself so much that you are doing things specifically for your pleasure or how people look at you, because then, yeah, you start treading down that road. There's a balance in all things, right?
Yes.
So anyways, with that, thank you, Hyrule, so much for the question. I hope
Pickle
that,
flavored tacos.
yeah, pickle flavored tacos, yummy. I hope that helps with that whole scenario and makes you feel a little bit more confident in yourself and moving forward and navigating through that. Because just like we said, we all fail that sometimes. We all do. So when you fail it, don't be upset at yourself. Just be like, oh, okay, I'm human. All right, let's keep on going. I know it's better than this. I know the right thing to do. So I'm going to try to work on it. But yeah, you got this, Hyrule. You're awesome. So thank you so much for the topic. It's a really good one.
Mhm.
So yeah, it looks like Cherry has joined us.
Yeah, Cherry says if dynamite explodes before the fuse is lit, it's not good dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true. That would be weird. I'm
You're
going
probably
to
not alive.
name a couple of the people in the that could be here. So if you're here, let us know. Feel free to drop a yo, what's up, your mama that in the chat.
Yo,
But
your mama that?
is Mark Anthony, Cherry, nobody, Akil? Oh, of course, neither Akil or Hyrule do we have to say. So Mark Anthony, basically, no Mark Anthony and nobody. If either of you here, let me know. That'd be awesome. And while I wait for that, I'm gonna move on to Cherries.
Yo, what's up with your mama that?
Yo, what's up, your mama that? AKA
Yo, what's up with your mama
JTJ.
that?
Akil, yo, what's up? So awesome. Cherry, you ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Doom, 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 dum, dum. Okay.
Hey, yo, what's up with your mama
Copyright. Whoever made that song.
Whoa, wait a second.
What?
We got a couple different ones, I think.
Embarrassment?
Unless it's let's see. Princess gave us two different links. Oh no, they go to the same place. All right, cool. Never mind.
Okay, cool.
Never mind.
All right.
Thanks,
So this one
Princess.
is from Cherry on the forums. The name is JTJ, for short for Journey to Japan. This title is Embarrassment, or sorry, the topic is embarrassment. That's the title. And it reads as follows. Okay, before this post begins, I want to clear up some things. 1. My dream of being an angel is no longer existent, and I don't know how I feel about faith or religion at the moment. And it's too stressful for me to want to try and think about or figure out for now. I just want to be me without censoring or feeling as though I'm shutting out a part of who I am. 2. The thing I said during a previous stream about my dream leaning more towards chasing nostalgia was completely false. Sure, that's motivation for my dream of wanting to live in Japan, but it's not necessarily the dream, rather motivation. So the dream is Japan. One of the motivations is nostalgia. Got it. Though thought I'd cleared this up because it bothered me ever since I said it. Fair enough. 3. Yes, this post was something else entirely originally, but I'm embarrassed of it and can't stand the idea of having anyone see what it was, which is funny because part of the topic mentioned that aspect of me. Anyways, the question for this post is basically that. There are parts of me I feel are very embarrassing, and things that I say that are very embarrassing that may lead people to have a negative impression of me. I can't stand this, and it comes to a point where, despite others' thoughts of me, sometimes I simply just hate what I say and hate myself for certain things I'll say. I don't even have the courage to really even bring a clue as to what the original post was about. So, properly asking this question is difficult. How do I have the courage to talk about my flaws without overdoing it to a point where I hate myself for saying something embarrassing or going too far with it? That's my best attempt at forming this question. And that was by Cherry. Thank you, Cherry.
Thank you.
No problem, man. I totally see why you mentioned the second heading of this topic about being nostalgia. Yeah, last time we talked a lot about nostalgia and not necessarily getting too sucked into it. But we were talking about getting stuck into it as in like you're wasting time doing nothing. If you're using nostalgia as a motivation, by all means, go for it. That's a whole different route. Now you're using your emotions to empower your reactions towards good. It's just like anger. Anger isn't evil. Anger can create evil things if you use it unwisely, just like nostalgia. But if you use it wisely, anger can fuel you to do wonderful, incredible things. In fact, many things that exist in this world today, including rights as different races, whether you're Asian or black or white or whatever, even genders have flourished through this anger turn righteous. So it's nothing wrong with using nostalgia as a motivator. I think that's brilliant. We were just warning against the possible effect of dumping everything into that emotion and then moving nowhere because you're just stuck in it. Because I know that's happened to me, so that's why I mentioned it. But I'm glad you're not doing that. Anyways, yeah. So basically, how do you? The question here is, how do you have the courage to talk about your flaws? Pretty much, period. Because of course, that's the main thing. Like, the whole point is when you talk about your flaws, you're scared of what other people are gonna think. But at the same time, you know better, and you want to be able to just be you, right? Your first thing you wrote in here is your dream of being an angel no longer exists, and you don't have faith at the moment because you just want to be you without censoring yourself. And then later on, you say, but I censor myself because I fear how others think of me. And there are parts of me that I don't like, that I don't want other people to see. That's completely natural. All that stuff makes sense. So I'm looking forward to see what Joe has to say on this.
That's a really good question. I think the question I would ask you is, who are you talking to about your flaws? And is this just in general with other people, or is this certain people? Because depending on who you're talking to, it's more appropriate to talk about them than with others. And to go into more detail with some people than others. Like if you're talking with a therapist or something like that, then it helps to open up and talk about that kind of stuff and to go into detail and let them, kind of draw you out. They will guide that conversation though, because they will ask questions to draw out the things that they need to know in order to, figure out what's going on in whatever situation. So if you're just talking about like in general conversation, you probably don't really need to say much more than I have flaws.
Yeah.
Because we all have flaws. I mean, if you're asking other people what your flaws are to kind of figure out what, how other people in the world perceive you, then you can ask, hey, what was there stuff that I was doing wrong here? Was there something that I, needed to fix? Something like that. But to kind of go in that direction is a great way to talk about your flaws. But other than that, to just if you're talking with friends or whatever, sometimes, I mean, there will be some trial and error in this. I mean, it's like tact, developing tactfulness. It takes some trial and error to figure out, that happy middle ground of where it's appropriate and where it crosses a line into inappropriate, and what empowers other people, excuse me, what causes conversation to flourish, and then what causes it to kind of break down. I mean, some of that will just be you trying things and watching what happens to the conversation as a result. Watching, just kind of monitor what other people's responses are as you're talking about it. So that's going to be, you're going to learn as you go, some of that stuff. But really, when I talk about my flaws with other people, I don't really have to go into a whole lot of detail. I just generally just say something to the effect of, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm not expecting myself to be perfect. And so I apologize, especially if it's something that happened recently that I didn't do right or whatever that needed to be fixed or something like that. And they're talking to me about it. Then I'll just say, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry. I'm not perfect. I mess things up from time to time. I'm really good at it, actually. It's one of my strong points, actually, is messing it up. So you know, and if you can, sometimes you can make a joke about it, you know, and bring some humor in to just kind of lighten it up a little bit. That helps a lot. Anytime you're talking about your flaws or anybody else's flaws for that matter, excuse me, to lighten the mood, maybe with a little bit of simple humor, you know, can kind of help to lighten things up a little bit. But as far as you know, that's as far as you being embarrassed, I know that I can tell you that now I am less embarrassed by things as I was 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, I was less embarrassed by things as I was 10 years or 10 years ago. So like 5 years before that, right? So like there's over time, you will get less and less embarrassed about this type of thing because you're just going to be like, okay, it doesn't really matter. We're all people. Everybody you're dealing with has flaws. Everyone you're dealing with has issues. Everyone that you're talking to, they have stuff going on in their life. And most of the time, other people aren't thinking about you and your flaws. Most of the time, they're thinking about themselves and their own flaws. And that's okay. So, one of the best things you can do is use the conversation about flaws to relate to other people, to just make that a point of connection. Where it's like, you know, when somebody has some kind of issue and maybe they're talking about it and you can be like, oh yeah, I totally understand. I've got something similar to that. But you know, like you don't really have to go any farther than that. You don't have to take the conversation away by talking about your flaws instead of theirs. You can just be like, oh man, I can totally relate. You know, I think we all have stuff going on because we do. We're all people. We all have dreams. We all have hopes. We all have desires. We all have, you know, different things that we're drawn to. We all have all kinds of stuff going on, and we're all stuck in this world together. You know, a bunch of imperfect people. And the more you can give grace to other people with their flaws, the better you're going to feel about your own and the less defensive you will be about your own. When you start to, even in your mind, I find this for me, in my experience, if I start thinking to myself, oh, that person, they got that flaw. If I start pointing out the errors in people while they're driving, for instance, because a lot of people make a lot of mistakes when they're driving. And a lot of people do all kinds of stuff. And so like if I start pointing out everybody else's flaws and errors, you know what's going to happen when I'm by myself? I'm going to start pointing out my own flaws and errors because that's the mode I'm in. I'm starting to think about everybody else's flaws and errors. And then if somebody points something out at me, I'm going to be more defensive about it because I'm going to be like, you know, like I'm not that bad, you know, because I've been sitting there pointing out people's flaws and their bad points. And so I'm thinking negatively about them. So when somebody points back at me with one of my flaws, I think, oh, they're thinking negative about me. I need to defend myself, you know, and then it turns into this big old, now we start to move into egotism again, right? Like we were talking about in the last topic. So the more grace you have with other people, the smoother all this goes for you and your flaws. It's a weird, weird thing, but it's so true. I dare you to try it and see how it works. That when somebody screws up in front of you or somebody does something, and rather than just thinking, rather than laughing at them or pointing at them or whatever. Just be like, hey, you know what? We all make mistakes. I make mistakes. They make mistakes. Well, hey, I guess we all have different kinds of mistakes that we make, right? And just be understanding of people in your head and in your heart. You don't even have to say anything out loud, but just inside you, be understanding genuinely. What you're going to find is it doesn't matter to you that you have flaws, because we all have them, and it's okay. And it's not the end of the world. So with that, I'm turning it over to Ryan.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Nice. Nice. All right. So, yeah, there's a couple things we could talk about here, Cherry. Now you said you don't have a problem with people not liking you or anymore because you've begun to just simply not care about the people who don't, which is fair. But yeah, there's certain people who you want to like you, right? And that could even apply to, say, me and Joe, for example, right? You might feel afraid to post a topic in here because you worry what we might think of you. Now, just to get that out of the way, there's no reason to be afraid. Joe and I have experiences with priests, and we kind of take their role into this, and that is nothing you can say really is never going to make us think bad about you. Like, okay, there are things that are really terrible to do in this world. I mean, killing people, and then there's things that people consider worse than killing people. And none of that will shock me. All right. None of that will shock Joe. If someone says something like, like I had done this thing to a little kid, whatever it was, and it's like, wow. Some people would be like, yeah, you're banned. We're not gonna, But Joe and I, we understand that we're human. We understand that you're human. We understand that we are all capable of doing evil things. We are all equally capable because we all have choices we can make. We all have things that come across our mind. One of the things you talked about is you want to be able to be yourself without a censor. And you want to be able to do things without feeling embarrassed and stuff. But part of that is good and natural. And I think this, Jerry. I don't have to really say this, but this. We have things that go through our minds that we know are just like, that would be a bad idea to do. Why would I ever do that? I wouldn't do that. It's just a random thought I had. Like, of course I wouldn't, do that sort of thing. That's not really something I want to do. Or even if it's like, wow, I kind of want to do that, but that would be really bad. Like, we have those thoughts, and we have to censor ourselves sometimes. We have to shut down certain ideas and thoughts, whether they come from us or they come from other people, or because we listen to or watch something for like a couple days in a row, and then all of a sudden we get these weird thoughts in our heads that are like, where did that come from? Why would I want to do that? We have to limit ourselves sometimes. And that limit that we put on ourselves isn't just so we can obey someone's rules. It's because we love ourselves and we want the best for ourselves. I mean, we've come to understand health, right? We've come to understand enough that if you eat nothing but sugary junk food all the time, it's not good for your body. Likewise, if you eat nothing but meat and you don't eat anything else, it's not good for your body, right? You have to have nutrients in many categories to have a healthy body. Otherwise, you feel drained. You don't feel like you have the energy, or your body starts to react differently. Like it starts to break out, or your nails don't grow anymore, or your hair is falling out, or all of these things happen because of the food that we eat or are refusing to eat, or sometimes we have to do things. Sometimes we have to limit ourselves, right? And that's like I said, you already know all this, right? I'm only saying it to remind you, because my point is we all have temptation. And when we do something that we're embarrassed about, that we feel guilty over, that's natural response, right? And it's a good response. It's a good response, but there are two versions of it, and I think that's important. We've talked about this before, but there's guilt, and then there's that, like, a healthy guilt, and then there's another form of guilt. And I wish it had a name, but it doesn't. We just call it guilt because we wrap it up into one idea, but it's not. And that is guilt that when we suppress ourselves, when we throw ourselves in the dark and we hate ourselves because of something we did, or maybe even by how people see us, right? That's a very unhealthy guilt. We can cling on to guilt. So guilt is kind of like God's tool to help guide us. And then when we cling on to it and we don't move forward because we feel guilty and we don't feel like we're worthy enough to move forward, that's not God's tool anymore. That's the devil's tool, right? Or one aspect is healthy, the other aspect is very unhealthy, right? So if we feel guilt is good, and it can help us move forward. But if we refuse to move forward because of the guilt, then that guilt is working the opposite. It's not working for us. It's working against us. Then there's embarrassment, right? Embarrassment can sometimes be because of guilt. But embarrassment can also be healthy, right? It could be something as simple as I've never experienced this before. Now I'm blushing. That is a form of embarrassment, right? Embarrassment sometimes is just because you're in an awkward situation. You're not sure how to respond, so you feel embarrassed. You're not sure what other people are going to think, so you're a little bit embarrassed to talk about it. And that's like nervousness, and it's not entirely evil. But it does show what we were just talking about, and that is a lack of confidence, right? I think if you could, Cherry, now I know you weren't here for the beginning, if you could please go back and listen to that last topic. We covered a lot. Now, it was a rather long topic. We'd cover for like 30 minutes, but we got to talk a lot about how the interaction of the way you look at yourself and become egotistical or confident, what it means to be confident, and how confidence looks, so that you don't have to feel embarrassed, right? Because a lot of times that's what embarrassment is, right? In this scenario, it's a lack of confidence. So when I talk to other people, just like Joe was saying, you don't have to relay like all of your, like, you don't go up to someone, right? Even if they ask, you don't need to tell them all of your faults, right? And it's not just because you're trying to protect yourself and how you look, but it can be. But talking about those things can make for bad conversation. It can make you look like bad to that person, and then you ruin your relationship, right? And that's something that you don't want to do, right? And then it's not necessarily about you, but it is about your relationship with them and making sure that it's healthy. There are certain things that we don't necessarily need to reveal, and some ways that we can reveal them without revealing. For example, sometimes, like on this show in particular, I might talk about an issue. And instead of talking about the actual thing I'm talking about, I give like an simile. So I say, for example, now some of you will get this and some of you will not. It's based on your actions throughout your life and what you've encountered. But if I say there are certain addictions we can have in life, and they are very unhealthy for us. And some of them, it's not like smoking or anything, but it's still like, like you're doing things with your body you shouldn't. Like you're spending too much time playing video games, right? And that's not healthy for your body. You're not getting the exercise, and it's not the right kind of exercise for your body. Now, there are many different things you could take off of what I just said, and it leads you down a road of like, okay, he's talking about this, or, oh, that sounds like something he's probably talking about this, because that's what I did. That's what I experienced in my life, and I did that, and I had to figure out how to get over that addiction. Or that's what I'm suffering. I'm suffering from that addiction myself right now. It's like the only one I gave an example for was smoking and video games, but there are so many applicable addictions within those realms that it could be anything. So the point is, there are times when relaying your own difficulties with something can be extremely beneficial. I picked video games because that is something I struggled with, right? But if I can relate that to a problem you're having, what I end up doing is I level our playing field. And I can say, hey, look, I have problems too, right? You have problems, I have problems, right? We're the same. I can move on from my problem. And that gives you the confidence to know that you can move on from yours, right? Sometimes people will tell me something and I'll be like, wow, I've had that same problem in my life. I've had that same problem in my life. You know what that does for them? That doesn't make them go, oh, wow, you're a terrible person. No, it makes them go, oh, wow, I can relate to you. Okay, so you had this problem too. I don't feel so bad anymore. Now I feel like maybe this is something I can have confidence in getting over because I realize that I'm not the only one that's gone through it. So sometimes, Cherry, while you might feel embarrassed to talk about a subject, you might be embarrassed to bring out your own faults in front of other people. Sometimes doing so is the most charitable thing you can do because it helps them understand you're just like them.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all got problems. We all have things that we are embarrassed of, things that we are ashamed of, that we don't want to talk about because we're not proud of them. And we naturally don't want to talk about the things we're not proud of.
Mm-hmm.
That's very human. It's very natural. It's like, why would I want to bash myself in front of other people and make them think I look, why would I want to do that? If it helps somebody else, I'm more than willing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because in the end, they don't actually look down at me. It's funny because you would think that showing your flaws to somebody else would make them look at you like you're worse. But if you have a real, sincere connection with that person and you're being honest and you just say, hey, look, I have this problem, it makes them connect with you. I'm going to give you an example. You go to school. Now, obviously, right now we're in quarantine, so you can't. But you go to school, right? And someone says something, right, that hurts you inside. This is interesting. If you go to them, like one-on-one after, right? Not right then when it happens, but one-on-one after, and you have a sincere conversation with them. You're just like, hey, this is interesting. So you said this earlier, and I just want to let you know, like, I'm not gonna be mad at you for it. Like, but that's like something I struggle with a lot. Do you have any, like, you probably don't struggle with that. What do you like? Why? Like, can you help me? What do you think that person's reaction will be? You just took what they said that was an attack against you. You said, hey, can you give me your opinion on that? Because that actually did hurt me, and I'm trying to figure out how do I get over this. You look like you look like you know what's going on. You're not insulted by those type of things. So I'm trying to figure out from you. I'm trying to learn from you. Right? You just straight out admitted your fault. You just straight out just said, I didn't like what you said. It made me hurt inside. And I have problems with that category. You know what's going to happen? That person's going to respect you. And that person's going to be like, wow, man. Yeah. Honestly, I've got those problems too. I don't know, man. I'm sorry I said that. Or, oh yeah, you just got to toughen up, man. Like, let me show you something. Or they'll tell you an experience they had with their dad. So, it's interesting. But when you put your flaws out on the line in a sincere way, trying to connect with somebody and let them know, hey, you're not perfect and you're looking to improve, no one looks down at you. Instead, they respect you because they realize that takes courage. When you tell someone that you're struggling with something and you're looking for their opinion, they don't go, wow, that person's terrible. They go, you're asking me for my opinion? Oh, I'd love to. Like, thank you. I feel so like you actually look up to me. This is really cool. I feel really good. None of that was like, wow, you look like a terrible person. I can't believe you do those things. Like, wow, I would never want to associate with you again. No, it was instead like their natural response is going to be, wow, I feel so good right now. Of course I'm going to help you. You just made my day by asking my opinion about something that you're struggling with. You realize it's like they don't even pay attention to what you said. Like they don't even like care that you did it. They just want to be helped now because you gave them that chance, because you showed them that you think that they're smart, that you think that they have wisdom, that you think they could say something that changes your life. You put that ball in their court. They don't care anymore. They don't care if you did something terrible. As long as you can convey your, sadness with what you did, right? Like as long as you can adequately convey like, hey, this is something I did and I feel terrible for doing. And I can't believe I did it myself, but I did. So I'm asking for your help. So please help me with this, but this is what I did, blah, 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 blah. Right. And most are going to go, wow, that's crazy. You did that? Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how to help you there. You know? And then you're like, dang, man. Well, okay. Well, if you think of anything, let me know, because I'm trying to figure out what to do. So that's generally the worst that happens. Unless you're just talking to a person that's obviously just trying to do evil in the world, right? But most of the people you're going to be relaying this kind of stuff to aren't going to be those people,
Right.
right? So, you can figure out what those people are yourself. You don't have to like just open up to everybody about everything. Although being transparent, having a transparent life is the best thing you could possibly have, but none of us are perfect. So we just have to realize, okay, I'm living a transparent life and everyone's going to notice my flaws because they're just going to be right out in the open and people will look down on me. But you know what? There's going to be a lot of mad respect for me too. And that respect will carry me a lot farther than anyone else can take me down. So, I don't know. I hope I touched on the topics that you wanted me to. Obviously, the original topic was changed, and that's fine. Totally get it. If you're embarrassed about something, sometimes there's a reason to be, but ultimately, if you're embarrassed about something, it's because you're worried about how other people will see you, right?
Hmm.
If you can change that into how can I make a difference by doing this? Now it's no longer just about you, and it becomes about everybody else. Because you realize by sharing your struggles in life, you actually get to help other people. And now you don't have anything to be embarrassed about anymore because you're not worried about what other people think of you. You're only worried about what can I help with? How can I help with sharing this? Right? It takes away all of the embarrassment. It takes away all of the pain. It takes away everything there in that area. So, anyways, Joe, did you have anything else you want to follow up with?
I think one thing I wanted to touch on was the whole idea about, being concerned about people having a negative impression of you. While it's true, it's not any fun for people to have a negative impression of me. Like if it's me thinking about this, I'm like, of course I want people to think good of me.
Right.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. I think about like my kids and I think about my wife and I think about people close to me, right? Like I want them to think good about me, but I'm not in charge of that. I cannot control that. There are times when from the bottom of my heart, I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to do what's good and what's best, and it's going to make somebody mad. And they're not going to like it. And they're going to be mad at me for a while. Happens all the time. And I'm like, you know what? That's not up to me. I don't get to decide whether they're mad or not. My son was mad at me the other day for something. I can't even remember what it was. He probably doesn't even remember it either. But
Nice.
he said, I'm really mad at you. And I'm like, oh man, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for whatever I did that made you mad. And I'm sorry that you're mad. Can you forgive me? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I said, well, I really hope you can, because it's really going to hurt you if you don't forgive me. It's not going to, I've already said, I'm sorry. I've already done that. I've already done my part. And I was sincere about that. Right. Like the thing for you to heal now is the forgiveness. Right. And he was mad at mom the other day too. And he was writing her a note and he's like, I won't forgive you. And I looked at that. I was like, what's this? And he erased it. He's like, I will forgive you if you say I'm sorry 10 times.
Conditional forgiveness. All right. I mean, it's better. It's a step up.
It is. Yep, exactly. But but the point is, I can't decide what people think of me. So what do I do then? Because I finally got to the point where I was like, if I can't decide what people think of me, there's a chance that everybody's going to think I'm horrible. So what do I do? You know how I play that game? What's the worst that can happen? You've heard me talk about this game before. I'm sure everybody here has heard me talk about this game. You know, you play in your mind. What's the worst that could possibly happen? In this case, what's the worst that could possibly happen? Everybody thinks horribly of me. Everybody thinks I'm a jerk. Everybody thinks I'm awful. Nobody thinks I'm a good person at all. Everybody hates me, right? That's the worst that can happen. What am I going to do? You know what just happened? If nobody likes me, then I don't have to worry about anybody liking me.
It's true.
I don't have to worry about trying to make people like me. They're not going to like me. So now I am free to do the right thing. Because ultimately our goal is self-fulfillment, being happy, stuff like that, right? I mean, we want to have a good life. We want to be happy. And Ryan has said this so many times. He has taught me this, that the pathway to happiness is living with virtue. You know, you combine all there's the 7 cardinal virtues, there's all kinds of other virtues. There's Ben Franklin's 13 virtues. There's pick some and start to pursue them, and it makes you happy because you know you're doing what's good. And if I don't have to worry about other people liking me, if I don't have to worry about trying to get other people to like me, then I'm free to do the best I can do in living a life that's going to make me happy, which is a life of virtue. So if I can live a life of virtue and not care what other people think, because they're going to probably hate me anyway, I'm free. And that's great. That's great news. Because now I'm no longer living to see if somebody's going to like me. I'm no longer trying to make decisions based upon somebody else's opinion. I am making my decisions based on what's going to make me happy, which is pursuing virtue. And you know what happens when you do that? Yes, there are some people that are going to be really frustrated with you because they're going to see you and they're going to be like, oh, goody goody two shoe, blah, 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 whatever. But that's just them being upset, right? It doesn't matter. What's going to happen is you're going to be like that old shoe or that old shirt or whatever, that really comfortable person to be around, right? You ever have a shirt that's like your shirt that's been broken in, you've worn it so many times and it's the most comfortable shirt you have because like you've worn it so many times, right? And it's getting pretty worn out, right? But it's still the most comfortable shirt you have. You're going to be like that for people. You're going to be so comfortable for them to be around. And the other thing too is that Ryan has said this many, many times on this stream as well, on different shows, that it's not important what people think of you. It's important what they think about themselves when they're around you. How can you make others feel good about themselves? If you do that, you will never have to worry about what people think of you because they will think the world of you. Because when they're around you, they feel good about themselves. And you just gave them such a tremendous gift. I mean, geez, that's why I love being around Ryan, is because he makes me feel good about myself. So I love seeing his name pop up in the chat on Double Cup of Joe show, you know, because I know he's going to come and he's going to contribute some stuff and he's going to say some great stuff to people in the chat and he's going to make us feel like $1 million while he's there. Just the fact that he showed up and he's contributing. I mean, it's amazing. And so if you can be that for other people, you don't have to worry about a thing because they're going to love you They're going to love being around you. You're going to fill their day with joy. So that's what I got.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. And you do too, by the way, to me, of course. I think, that's kind of how our friendship got started, way back in the day
Mhm.
was entirely just because, I didn't have the people skills that well, very, very many people skills at the time. But you always did a great job of making not only myself, but my brother and everybody else feel welcomed and loved and important. Um, and you always gave us that. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. You gave us hope that we could be something more. And I think that really changed just how we've lived the rest of our lives from that moment on, but also um, made it so that we did not we wanted to be around you. Like I remember like anytime we went to any seminar, right? Or and we would have to drive for like hours to go
Mhm.
wherever we're going. Anytime that we did that, the whole point for me going was just to get around Joe because I knew that was going to be just entirely worth it if I could have a conversation with Joe. And the funny thing was like a lot of times we we didn't have time to make conversation
Mm.
except for we did by staying up like until like 5 o'clock in the morning and then waking up at 7 and then going off to the conference. Right. That's what we did. But I remember Joe always made me feel like $1,000,000 and he always had this dream, this hope that he instilled in us because he knew that we were capable of being great. And that really just changed everything for us, for me and my brother. So I would encourage you to do the same thing, Jerry. If you have a dream,
Mm.
then take that and inspire other people. Not inspire other people with your dream, but make other people realize that their dreams matter,
Mhm.
that you're interested in their dreams, that you know they can do incredible things. Instill that in them. And it won't matter anymore whether you have flaws or not, because they'll see right past them to this person who's encouraged them, who has made their life a whole new platform to live off of, to spring from, because you've given them hope, you've given them friendship, you've given them kindness, you've given them self-respect just by being kind and pointing out the goodness in them. So
Jerry, you
even if
summed it up perfectly in this post right here, where you said it made me happy to make her happy. That's exactly it. We used to hear a guy speaking that would say, "The best way to be happy is to give happy."
Yep.
So sorry for interrupting you, Ryan, but
No,
I
it's
saw
perfect.
that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So and I think that's a good line to end off on. The best way to be happy is to give happy, even if that includes presenting your flaws sometimes,
Mhm.
because what you end up doing is you help other people.
Yeah.
um
And sometimes your flaws are really entertaining stories.
oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
I love telling stories about how I mess things up. My kids love hearing stories about how I mess things up. They're like, "What? Dad, you're such a moron." I'm like, I know.
I
Is it
know.
true?
That's what makes me great.
Hey, don't blame me. Hey, you're not my dad. I'm your dad. So
Oh, jeez. You're not my dad. A dad saying that to their child. You're not my dad. Dad, I know. You're my dad.
I know. That's why I'm not your dad.
Mm.
Or that's why you're not my dad. I mean, whatever.
You're not my son. Yeah.
Akil.
Yes, you are.
Akil, I
That's true.
love you.
You're Akil's dad. That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Cherry, for the post. It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the post. So now we're kind of at an impasse. I saw Lay had been posting some stuff in the chat. I unfortunately wasn't able to read through all of it, but if it was an issue or something you'd want us to talk about on the stream, Lay, that'd be great. Because at the moment, I'm gonna read through a list of names, and no one's gonna have a "Yo, what's up, your mom" in the chat for me. But
Yo, what's up, yo, when I'm out in a chat?
Yeah, if I say your name, throw down a
Hey,
yo, what's up,
what
your
do you
mama
want
to
to
chat. You know how to do. So we got Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Rain Knight, Mark Anthony, and a person named Nobody. So I3I3
I3
is not a yo, what's up, your mama that in the chat.
Akil said, hey, what's up, your mama that?
In the chat.
But you also said we should watch it afterward.
Watch
I'm
what?
so confused.
We should watch what?
Akil's video.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, you said that. Well, yeah, he's following the direct. Well, I didn't say his name though. So
Yeah,
I think he just wanted to do it. He just wanted to do it. He wanted to type "Yo, what's up, your mom" in the chat.
Yeah, I want to say that too. I want to say
That's
that too, but instead I'm just going to do that because that's the visual form of. But hey, what's up, your mom in the chat?
It's getting longer, guys.
Hey, what's up, your mom in the chat with a hat? Chat
with a hat? With a hat?
Oh my!
Wow. Z is a cool name. That is cool. Thanks,
hey, Jim, what's up with your mom with a hat in chat?
So yeah. So it looks like we don't have anybody to any topic to read off at the moment. It was more of a complaint than than a topic. That's totally fair, Lay. So yeah, Joe, you want to just talk about something?
Sure. What do you want to talk about?
I mean, we've got like 40 minutes. Sorry, no, 20 minutes.
No.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Right. Before it hits the 2-hour mark. So, yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I just have to say, wow, it's great to see everybody here.
Yeah, really, it is. It's nice to have you guys here. What's not nice is that you guys haven't been having enough problems. Could you have some more problems, please? Because we don't have anything to talk about. Could you go do something so you can have more problems so you can give them to us? I'm just kidding, guys. Please don't have problems.
Asks what my favorite instrument that isn't something I play normally.
Oh, I've got a couple of those.
My favorite instrument that isn't something I play normally, but is it something that I play sometimes?
Maybe something you play sometimes. What about something you don't play and then also one that you play sometimes?
Oh, okay. I would say my favorite instrument that I play once in a great while is the flexitone. My favorite. Yep. That, like that's the coolest thing about being a percussionist. You get to play all the toys. You play with all the little toys that make the noise, right? That's the coolest part about being percussion. So, oh, wait a second. Princess just shared something very important with us.
Oh, wait. Nobody is AKD? AKD, are you nobody? Is that a real thing?
Yeah. That's
what
Princess says. Princess says that's right.
Well, Princess is pretty smart, so okay. All right. Well, hey guys, we got a topic for you guys. This one comes from AKD, who's been here the whole time.
Yeah, wow.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, dude. I didn't know. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
I apologize. And now the thing is, it's funny too because
that is an obscure movie reference right there.
The thing is, I knew that this person who had posted was someone that had posted before. This person named Nobody, but for some reason I just did not connect that it was AKD. It says, no, you don't have to. No, we want to. Otherwise, we're just going to be like talking about nothing. Other than, I guess Joe didn't get to answer his other question. What's your favorite instrument that you don't play?
I play every instrument.
Okay.
The cello. I don't play the cello.
Okay, fair enough. Hello, I'm starting late. Oh, hey, welcome, Fancy. Nice to see you. All right, so yeah, let's do it.
All right. You're the host. You decide.
I am deciding right now. This one is from Nobody, aka AKD, aka AKD in the chat.
Yeah.
AKA AKD in chat. Wow. It's harder than yo, what's up, your mama that.
It is. Wow.
This one's titled, I want to talk about something. So it reads as follows. Hello, Joe and Ryan. By the way, that's of the appropriate order. Thank you for putting it in that order, because that's
That is
correct chronologically
that
and
is the appropriate if you
alphabetically.
switch them, because as for handsomeness factor, we found out that the long
hair length. If you go by hair length, you go
hair
shorter
length.
than the longer.
You go the longer, which is the more handsome, and then the shorter, which is the see. So he saved the best for last, really.
Joe, you don't even know what I look like if I take my glasses off.
Right.
So deal with that thought for a moment while I read through this post. Hello, Joe and Ryan. It's been a long time. My last post was in July. You guys really helped me back then. First, I wanted to say thanks for that. I think I need help again. Thanks to COVID-19, they changed my university exams date 2 months ago from June to July. And an hour ago, I learned they have changed it back to June. Whoa, that's a big difference. Okay, they gave me hope that I could study for another month, but now they took that from me. My family believes I can do it, but I don't anymore. I just can't. I don't know why they are doing this. Why change the date again? This stuff makes no sense. They removed a lot of subjects too, mostly the subjects I was good at. I want to be an engineer, but they're making it so hard for me. It was already hard becoming an engineer, but everything seems impossible now thanks to COVID. My father keeps saying other students will stop studying because of this, and I should use this to my advantage. But I am the one who stopped studying. This exam is like everything to me. I don't know if I can do it. So much studying in so little time. I just wanted to talk about it. I don't know if you guys can save me, but knowing you guys can care makes it better. I never thought this virus would affect my life. It's so hard to study from home. I don't know what to do. I wish I could disappear right now. I don't want to see my family. Sorry. I don't want to see my family or talk with them. If only this virus didn't exist, I'd still be in school, still studying. I don't know. I hope I can watch Don't Worry Wednesday online. Have a good day. Perfect. Thank you for this, nobody. AKA AKD. Yeah, this totally understand it. It's crazy that they would switch that on you and then switch it back, and then now you're stuck in this situation. And your father's probably right. There's probably a lot of students who are just like, well, I guess I'll wing it. I'm not going to study now. And being an engineer, I realized that is one of the hardest college programs in the world. Obviously, you have things like becoming a doctor. That's very difficult. From what I've heard, being an engineer is just as difficult. It is one of the hardest professions to get into, period. So I get the struggle. I get that it's difficult, and that makes complete sense to me. I don't think you are in any way, by any means, exaggerating. I see how difficult of a situation this would be, especially if they cut back your time for the amount of time you have to study. So, yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to Joe for this topic and see. Hopefully, he can shed some wisdom on you, as I know he has in my life and many things like this. So,
yeah, wow. You're right. We can't save you. And you're right. We do care, because this is a rough situation, and it's rough for a lot of people. Your dad is right that a lot of people will stop studying, and he's totally right. And you said that you were the one who stopped studying. And you know what? That's okay. So you've got a month. It's the beginning of May right now. The exams are going to be in June. There's a lot to do. You thought you had an extra month, and now that time got cut back. That's a raw deal, and I'm sorry, because that's tough. we can all take a little bit of comfort in the fact of knowing that the rest of the world is kind of in the same boat. So we're all kind of swimming in the same soup because of this whole COVID-19. I said it, COVID-19. I'll say it again, COVID-19. Go ahead and demonetize us, COVID-19.
Coronavirus 2019. Okay, now we're just gonna get turned off. I'm sorry, guys.
Because yeah, I mean, we don't really do this show for the money because we don't make any money doing it. We do this because we want to hang out with you guys and we love you guys and we want to do whatever we can to help. So that's beautiful, is because we can kind of say what we want, and that's okay. We don't have to worry about them, giving us a big tech slap, or whatever. But anyway, there's something, you know what? Honestly, I picked up a book today that I haven't listened to in a long time. You guys are gonna hate me because it was a Hal Elrod book, and there's two things in this situation. It's so fitting, right? Because how do you do something? Because what you're looking at here, you may have to pull off something extraordinary in order to do well on your exams here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you relaxed a little bit. You relaxed, and then all of a sudden they switched it back on you. One, that's not fair. But you know what? A lot of things aren't fair. So here's what you can do. There are two things that need to go together here. One is unwavering faith in the possibility. You don't have to have faith that it's going to happen, that I'm going to pass all my exams. No, just the possibility that it could happen, that you could pass your exams. Because it is possible. Anything's possible. Everything's possible in the universe. You could, even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, right? So like, because they're relying on their sense of smell, probably. But at any rate.
No, it's magic.
Oh, it's magic.
Yeah, obviously.
Cool. Even a blind pig turns into bacon once in a while, It's okay.
Oh my gosh. Does a blind squirrel turn into bacon?
No.
Yeah, that breaks gravity. Sorry, go on.
But at any rate, unwavering faith in the possibility that it could happen, that you could pass your exams, because it's absolutely true. You could study and you could squeak by. You could use that powerful brain of yours, which your brain is very powerful. If you made it into an engineering program, you have a very powerful brain. Okay? So you take that unwavering faith in the possibility that you could, because what you're doing, because all I want to try to do right now is just shift your focus. Either way, you're using your imagination right now. Okay? You're either using your imagination thinking, I'm totally going to fail. This is totally terrible. I'm not going to make it. They totally screwed us over, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff may be true, right? But it hasn't come to pass yet, so you don't know. You're using your imagination. You can totally use your imagination in the other direction, and it'd be just as possible to have that type of an outcome. Either way is possible. It has not happened yet, right? So you take that unwavering faith in the possibility of a positive outcome. And then the second thing is extraordinary effort. Now, I'm not saying you have to like grind and work 24/7. What I'm saying is figure out a plan. Take a look at all the body of material you need to work on. And then just start taking it chunk at a time. Chunk at a time. You're like, okay, in order to get this, I need to spend X amount of hours each day. However many hours that is, take that time, and then make sure you take that time. Because I bet that right now you're just looking at that whole body of material, and I would too, and I'd be overwhelmed like crazy right now with all this stuff that I'd have to study. But if you take it a piece at a time, it's like, okay, spending an hour on this right now, spending an hour on the next thing next, you know, and just take it 1 hour at a time, 1 hour at a time. Before you know it, you're going to be most of the way through. And most of the way is still a passing grade, right? And who knows? Maybe they'll be a little bit understanding with the whole situation. I don't know. But at any rate, yes, you're right. Like you said in your post, we can't save you. We're not going to be the ones that are going to help you out. You know, we're not going to be the ones to pass your exams for you. However, with that powerful mind that you have, take your focus off of the potential of failing, put it on the potential of passing, because that's possible too. Nothing has happened yet. You don't know. None of us know the future. So either way is possible right now. And then just take it one bit at a time and say, you know what, in order to make this happen, I'm going to need to study like this. And then just do the work. And you'll be amazed. I think you will amaze yourself. I bet you could get through it faster than you think you can. I bet you can get through it. But those are the two steps: unwavering faith and extraordinary effort. And when I say unwavering faith, like I said before, it doesn't have to be unwavering faith that it's all going to work out perfectly. No, just unwavering faith in the possibility of success, because it is possible. Anything is possible. And then you just start getting to work. Just do what you know you need to do. And you don't have to go crazy. Like I said, you don't have to just like grind your brain into the dirt, you know, with all this homework. You just methodically take it step by step. This is engineering, right? What's the point of engineering? To figure out a methodical way to do this stuff, right? Figure out systems that run things, systems that work. You know, you can totally come up with a system of studying that's going to get you at least most of the way there to pass the exam. So with that, Ryan, what do you have?
Yeah. Thank you for starting that, Joe. And yeah, honestly, I'd go back and listen to what Joe said, because and as I've said many times, hope creates all things. Despair creates nothing. In fact, despair creates the abyss if it creates anything. The lack of something. It takes away. It's this empty space that it's a void that cannot be filled, and you just keep on throwing stuff into it, trying to fill it, and it never is fulfilled. That's what despair is. So that's how you feel. That's why you feel that way. Because, yeah, if you imagine a void, an abyss, you know, you can throw things endlessly into it. No matter how much stress you put on yourself, how much you feel like you just can't do it, you're never going to be satisfied with that, because you weren't built for that. You were built with hope in mind. Hope is an important part of your existence. So have hope. Hope creates all things. It doesn't mean that, just like Joe said, that you're going to ace everything, right? It doesn't mean that for sure this is the path that you're going to be able to go on in life. The funny thing is, you know, at this moment, you might feel like the test is everything, but honestly, it's not. Your life, yes, passing the test can help you move forward in a certain area, but even if you fail it, life goes on, and it doesn't go on worse. That's the important thing to remember. Just because you fail a test and you don't get to go to the next semester, or you don't get to have the job you were thinking you're getting, right? So there are so many people who would go to that and they'd go, man, now my life is going to be terrible for the rest of my life because I didn't succeed on that one test. I failed. It's so wrong. It's absolutely untrue. It's untrue. It's true to them because they perceive it that way. and then they despair. They have no hope. They don't put hope in their life. They don't put faith in their life that they can accomplish things. They just drop. And then their life does seem as if it's over because they start acting as if it's over. But here's the thing. The truth is, you can fail a test, drop out of being an engineer, and still have an equally, if not even better, possibly, life. Why? Not because engineering isn't good. No, it's because it's entirely up to you, how you feel about your life. Your attitude every single day is going to be how you feel about your life. If you have an attitude where you're like, man, this stinks. I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. You're going to feel like your life is stinky because you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy the moments you're in because your attitude's poop. So of course it's going to stink because poop stinks. Poop stank. Let me tell you. We all do it and we all don't like it. Poop stank. But perfume no stank. Yeah, sorry. Okay, anyways. But your attitude, you could put they got those products where it's like fart spray. Fart spray is just perfume, except for it stinks. You can spray fart spray around yourself, or you can spray perfume around yourself and smell the stink or smell the lovely aroma, right? Either way, everything else is the same. But one way your nose is going to be happy or your nose is going to be angry at you, right? Mm. And that's the way it is with attitude. You spray whatever scent you want, all right? The world around you is going to keep on moving, and you're going to keep on moving through it. You're always going to have opportunity. Opportunity always exists for all people. It's just a matter of what we're looking at, what we're taking up, what we're choosing to do with our lives, and how we decide we want to feel about doing it. So if you realize, if you're going through this scenario and you're looking, well, this is too much for me. Okay, here's the thing. Maybe it is too much. Maybe logistically speaking, like objectively speaking, the reality is it is too much. Too much to learn in 30 days, right? Maybe that's the objective truth. Nothing you can do about it. Here's the thing. You can always try and see how far you get. Because even like Joe said, even if you don't get all the way there, if you get most of the way there, that's all that matters. Because you still pass. Mm-hmm. It's not about getting A's, right? Because it's not. Because here's the thing. Here's the question. Why are you in college? Because college is supposed to get you an engineering degree so that you can be an engineer. You know this. The first engineers never had a degree in engineering. Neither did the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth or sixth generation. Mm-hmm. Engineering degrees are something that we made up. You can still have all the same knowledge, right? And you can prove yourself. But here's the thing. Our society wants those things, right? But they only look at the fact that you got the degree. They don't look at, oh, did they get A's in every single one of their classes up to get to that degree? No, you just have to succeed. Doesn't matter if you succeed flawlessly or if you succeed with trouble. If you succeed, you succeed. Mm-hmm. We all, in everything we do, when I'm writing music, even, I have failures all the time. I write entire sections and then just go, nope, and try again. There's no surefire way for success. Success is a path. You see, in life, you're always going to be tested. This is another test, just like it. You're always going to be tested. But if you have a path that you're sticking to, you realize that every test is an opportunity. And that when you're going down your path, if you've got a path, right? Sometimes you have a goal or a dream in mind. And you're like, this is where I want to go, right? This is where I want to be. I don't know the path that's going to take me there. All I can do is start walking. And when I see, oh, there's a sign. That sign points to where I'm going. Okay, I'm going to take that. I'm going to listen to that sign. Oh, there's another sign. That sign leads somewhere else. Okay, I don't know whether I should take that or not. I'm just going to keep on going straight. We'll find out where this ends up, right? You have to walk through life kind of blindly. And everything's going to test you. But if you've got your goal in mind, you've got your dream that you're shooting for, right? The path may change, but the end is still the same. And so sometimes you're going to be tested like this. You're going to have a test where you don't get to study for it, or you have very limited time before you can study with it. You know, in real life, a lot of times problems present themselves not as things you get to study for. When you're in engineering, you know this is going to happen. You're going to be working on something, and then something's going to go kaput, and you're going to be like, what went wrong? Something failed. Now I have to go figure it out. It's not going to be like, hey, something's going to go wrong around here. So study up on this process before it does, so that when it does go wrong, you can figure it out. It's not like that. Things just go wrong. They just do in every field. And then you use your logic to try to figure it out. And you have to fail your way through it a lot of times. So this is another one of those things. Keep your path, or sorry, keep your goal, right? And understand that the path may change. But that's all right. Because when the path tests you, really what it does is it makes you stronger. It makes you excel faster. A lot of times things seem like they're too much, right? They all come piling on at once. When that happens, instead of looking at it like, oh, it's too much, I can't deal with it all, have a different perspective. Have the perspective of, ooh, this is a trial. And I know that trials lead to accomplishment. Trials lead to success. Trials lead to growth. Trials lead to great stories. Trials lead to virtue. Trials lead to a better man. Because that's the truth. You look at this and you're overwhelmed? Yes. That means it's time to get kicking. Because if you're overwhelmed and you just go, oh no, I'm being buried alive, and so you lay flat on the ground and you do nothing and you're buried alive, right? Right? Then it's over. Like, you didn't pass the trial, you just sat there and took it. But if you're given a trial and you go, okay, this is a challenge, let's take it up. Let's go all out and see how far I get. It creates a champion. Because even if you don't succeed through the trial, you know what it does? It trains you for success. Because in most things in life, we don't succeed at the first time. But it's the fact that we try and we have hope that we continue to try until we succeed. That's the reality. So at this moment, you might feel overwhelmed. Good. Take it and run. Because there's no better trial than that. I hope that makes sense. Hope that inspires you, because I know that in my life, that's true. I mean, the times where I've grown the most are the times where I've been the most trying, period. Always have been. Always will be. When I look at my struggles and I'm overwhelmed by them and I just choose to stop, you know what happens? I go backwards. I don't succeed. I become despairing. I look at it and I'm like, it's too much. I start to get emotional and I complain and I don't do anything. But if I go through it and I have an attitude change, if I notice I'm doing that and I have an attitude change and I just go, you know what? No, this is a problem. And I know all problems lead to inner growth. All problems lead to the champion. So I take it and I switch my perspective around and I go, this is a lot of work. Try me. Let's see how far I can get. And I'll show you how much I can grow. And I take it and I run, right? Then I start to do the opposite thing, right? Instead of retracting and becoming less active and despairing and just giving up and just feeling miserable, I move forward and I push through and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is awesome. This is really hard work. I feel fulfilled. I feel like I'm giving it my all. And that makes me stronger. And it makes me wiser. All the trials I go through, I'm learning how to get through them. I'm climbing over the walls. I'm pushing them down and I'm realizing, hey, I'm capable of a lot. But I only realized I was capable because I was forced with something to overcome. And I had to go through it. You know, that's just how life is. And you know that. There's a reason for everything. Everyone always says it. There's a reason for everything. And it's true. It's part of the stuff. It's the whole basis of science. Without that idea that there's a reason for everything, that there's a cause, and there's a point to it, science doesn't exist. Same thing with physics. Same thing with engineering. And then if you apply that to life, and you say, okay, this is happening to me right now. There's a reason for this. And if you realize that reason is always good, that reason always points to improvement, then you can take that and run. Run with that. Run with that truth and try it. Test your mettle against it, and you'll find out it's true. Anyways, Joe, do you have anything else you want to follow up that with?
Yeah, you talked about science.
Yeah, science rocks. Haven't seen him in a while.
Science rocks. But you know, science as a general over-encompassing term. I realized from some comments in the chat, science is wrong. Because Pluto used to be a planet.
That's true.
And now apparently all of a sudden it's not. So either way, science at least was wrong at some point. Either they're wrong now or they were wrong before.
Yeah, they've been wrong about all sorts of different stuff.
Man, I tell you, that's crazy. Yeah. So at any rate, AKD, I noticed some posts from you in there about the possibility of disappointing family or disappointing parents and stuff like that. You know, if you try your best and your best efforts still are disappointing to a family member or whatever, you're in great company.
Company of the finest.
Yep. We all, to some degree, disappoint our parents. I've disappointed my parents before. Ryan's disappointed his parents before. You know, like, I mean, it's just kind of how you won't go your whole life without disappointing your parents. And it's okay. Because quite frankly, we talked about it on an earlier post. We're not perfect. None of us are perfect. And sometimes one of the best things we can do is not be perfect. Because then it allows people to understand that they can have grace. And they can learn to work through that. I remember talking to a buddy one time. It's like, I'll never forget this. We worked at the same place. And he said, oh, man, the boss, man, she is so mad at me. I'm like, that's okay. She needs the exercise.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it meant the mental exercise, right?
Yeah.
Of going through that. Like, she said stuff way too easy. Like,
Yeah.
But it's true. But what Ryan was saying was so true. Like, the tougher the trial, the more glorious the victory. You know, and the stronger you're going to become as a result. Even if you fall flat on your face and fail, it's okay. The strength you gain from trying, even if you don't hit it, even if you don't reach the goal, that's the point of the goal. Jim Rohn, an incredible business philosopher. I mean, he is like the premier American business philosopher in like history, right? I mean, he said the point of having a goal isn't the goal. Reaching the goal is not the goal of the goal.
Right.
If that makes sense. The point of having a goal is for you to become a person that can run after goals. So the reason for you setting a goal and working your tail off to get it is so that you can train yourself to be a person that works hard in pursuit of something. That's the point of having a goal. So if you do that, even if you fail at the goal, you still succeed because you did it. You tried, you worked, you set a goal and you worked toward it. What happens at the end doesn't matter. What happens inside you is all that matters. So keep that in mind as you go through this. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah,
That
no,
and
absolutely.
Pluto is a planet. Book of
Yeah.
Joe.
Book of Joe may have some scientific statements inside, but
Pluto is a planet. Butter is just fine on its own.
okay. Nice. Yeah. You know, I think that this is a good topic. You know, one thing is interesting. If you watch any good movie, right? Now, life isn't a movie, but movies give good examples of real how life really is. We all desire to be that gladiator who puts it all on the line. We all look at them and go, "Man, I wish I was like that." Right? And we don't like the gladiator that just wins, right? We don't like the gladiator that goes through it like it's easy piece of cake because he's all beefy and he's got that giant mace and he's like, "Yeah, of course I have the power. I'm this huge buff guy and everyone puts everyone against me because I'm obviously the strongest." No, we don't fight for that guy. We fight for the guy who's joining the gladiator ring and he's like this skinny little dude. He's got no muscle on him and you're like, "Good luck." As long as it looks like that guy has good intentions, good value, good virtue, we look at him and we're like, "Yeah, dude, go at it. Go, buddy. I hope you win," right? When we see his courage waver, that doesn't make us go, "Oh, I don't really like him anymore." No, when we look at his courage waver, we go, "Wow, I like him even more now. He's so real. He's so human. That's just like me." And then we see him have that resolve of like, "You know what? I got to go through with it. I got to do my best here." And he kind of gets himself reared up and he starts to go at it, right? We just want nothing more than for him to win, right? And that's what makes our journey the same, right? We have to be like that gladiator, right? Our courage may waver. Our ideas may waver, our goals may waver. But just like any good movie or anime, you know, the people that are the successful ones are the ones that persevere. Perseverance, they did a real study, and they asked a bunch of different people how they became successful and things like that, right? Pretty much the main quality that all successful people have is perseverance. That's it. That's it. All the people that quit, they never succeed, right? The people that can learn to persevere through something, they've accomplished the talent that sets them apart from the successful, or sets them apart from anybody else, really. The idea of perseverance is the number one trait of the only trait or the main trait that all successful people have in common is perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch an anime, you're always like looking at like Goku or whoever, right? Whenever they're down on their luck, but they keep on getting back up and they get beaten down to the ground again and they get back up and they win. Why? Perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter how many times they fail. It doesn't matter how hard the trial. If they persevere long enough, they will win. Even if it means failing the test. If you persevere, you will win.
Mm-hmm.
So
You can try again.
And you can try again. Yep. So hopefully that encourages you, sets your heart at ease a little bit. Like Joe said, take things in chunks. Don't look at the whole thing and go, wow, this is overwhelming. There's no way I can do all this at once. Instead, just look at it and go, okay, I can start here, this chunk. All right, let's learn this. And then once you learn it, you go on to the next one and go, I'll learn this. And then when you get to the end, you might go like, okay, time's up. I've learned these set of things. That's like 75% of the way there. I didn't get all of it, you know, or maybe you'll astound yourself and you're like, wow, I actually got through all of it. I didn't think that was possible. You know, just like anything, you can only take things one step at a time. So don't have to look at all of it at the same time and try to take all of those steps at once. That doesn't make sense. Just look at one thing. What can you work on today? And start working there.
Yep. And remember, the grade on the exam isn't going to change who you are, but how you approach this next 30 days may change who you are.
Very well said. Well, with that, I'm going to have to end this topic and we're going to close it down.
Yes, I'm holding a pen.
Yes, and that makes you intelligent. Wait, there's no... Oh, that's the wrong side. Yes. That's the one that knows everything. Over there is the chat. Those are the guys that are incredible.
Is that the chat?
It's the best people. Hopefully. I don't know. It might not. Oh, yeah, that should be the chat.
That's probably the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Those guys.
Confirmation.
Those are the true heroes.
I need more arrows. That one right there.
Yeah. Oh, that one. Oh. What?
And that one.
And that one. Anyways, we love you guys. And yeah, we hope the best for you. We realize that right now, some trying times, but the trying times are what make us incredible individuals. So we know you guys will all pass. You guys are going to be amazing, and we're going to love you every step of the way. Feel free to come back next Wednesday. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also, Joe has Double Cup of Joe on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings.
7 o'clock.
So if you don't know about that, you should be there. It's actually really great. Really great way to start your mornings with a good attitude that sets the whole day right. It's perfect. So if you want some additional encouragement, want additional hype or, you know, emotions to get you through the day, or just some logic to help protect you against whatever might come in the day, because trials happen every day, go to Double Cup of Joe in the mornings. That's at 7 EST, which I don't know what time zone you guys are from, so you're gonna have to calculate that yourself. But you can just Google, what's my time zone in perspective of 7 a.m. EST. Okay, maybe not like that.
We're gonna make it really easy for you. Hit that bell. You'll get a notification. You should anyway. Sometimes YouTube messes up, but most of the time you get a notification like 30 minutes beforehand. And then if you're on the Static P Discord thing, you'll get a notification if you're in the live steaming thing or whatever it is. If I remember to put it there. Notice how I always have a disclaimer for everything. But yeah, go there, ring the bell, show up. We would love to have you. We're talking about action this week. It's super a great week. Oh my gosh. You know, last week we talked about purpose. This week we're talking about taking that purpose and making it real by taking action. That's what makes anything you do real. So yeah, we're going tomorrow, I think, is the just getting started. How do you start?
Yeah.
So,
perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
That's perfect. Well, AKD, if you have time, show up to that. But anyhow, thank you all for being here. We love you guys, and we hope to see you guys soon. So peace. Have a good one.
I can teach you to be a bouncer, Tara. You just get a trampoline.
Nice. Easy.
You'd be good.
Easy. Expensive, but easy.
Love you guys. You're awesome.
Bye-bye.